Your phone knows exactly where you are right now. It knows where you were this morning. It knows where you slept last night, where you go every Tuesday at 6 p.m., and where you've been going every Sunday for the past 3 years. And the terrifying part is not that your phone knows all of this, but who else does. Most people think of location tracking as something abstract, a dot on a map, an optional feature you can turn off. But the way your location data moves through the world, who collects it, who buys it, who sells it, and what they use it for, is one of the most misunderstood and most exploited systems in modern cybersecurity. And right now, that data is being used against real people in ways most of them never imagined possible. So today, you are going to find out exactly how hackers and data brokers use your phone's location against you, why the settings you think protect you often don't, and what you can actually do about it. Let's start with something most people don't know. There is more than one way your phone tracks your location. The GPS chip is the one people think of. It uses satellites to pinpoint your coordinates to within a few meters. You probably know you can turn it off, but GPS is not the only signal your phone is constantly broadcasting. Your phone is always scanning for nearby Wi-Fi networks, even when you are not connected to any. Every Wi-Fi access point has a unique identifier called a MAC address. Your phone sees those identifiers, logs them, and cross-references them against massive databases that map MAC addresses to physical locations. This is called Wi-Fi positioning, and it can locate you within 30 feet, and it works indoors, and it works when GPS is completely off. At the same time, your phone is continuously communicating with cell towers. Your carrier knows which towers your phone is connecting to, and using a technique called triangulation, they can determine your position to within a few hundred meters. Not GPS precision, but precise enough to track whether you are at home, at a doctor's office, at a political rally, or at a bar. And then there is Bluetooth. Every Bluetooth-enabled device your phone comes near is logged. Stores use Bluetooth beacons placed throughout their aisles to track exactly where you walk inside the building. Not which store you entered, but which shelf you stopped at and for how long. So when you turn off GPS, you have not turned off location tracking. You have turned off one of at least 4 active systems collecting your physical position at all times. Now here is where it starts to get dangerous. All of this location data is collected by apps on your phone. Weather apps, games, flashlight apps, food delivery apps, retail apps, thousands of them. They ask for location permissions, often framed as necessary for the service to work, and then they quietly sell that data to a category of company most people have never heard of: location data brokers. Companies like Veriset, Safegraph, and Xmode have built multi-billion-dollar businesses by aggregating location data from hundreds of apps, combining it and reselling it. Their databases contain the precise movement history of hundreds of millions of people, not anonymized in any meaningful sense. Joseph Cox, a journalist at Vice's Motherboard, spent years investigating these companies and found that location data could routinely be used to identify individuals, track their daily patterns, and pinpoint sensitive locations they visited, including hospitals, banks, and places of worship. The data was being sold to anyone willing to pay. And that is the opening that attackers exploit. Here's one of the most common attack patterns. A bad actor purchases location data from a data broker, legally, no hacking required. They identify a target by cross-referencing their location patterns with other publicly available location. If you go to the same house every night, that is probably your home. If you visit a specific building every weekday at 9 a.m., that is probably your office. From a dataset of coordinates, they build a detailed map of your life, your routines, your vulnerabilities, when you're at home and when you're not. This is how stalkers track victims without ever touching their devices. This is how thieves case houses for robbery. This is how abusers monitor people who have left them. And because it is done through commercial data channels rather than through technical intrusion, it largely falls outside the legal definitions of hacking or stalking in many jurisdictions. But it goes further. In 2021, a Catholic news outlet called The Pillar published a report that outed a senior Catholic official based entirely on commercial purchase location data from a dating app. No hack, no breach, no subpoena. Someone bought a dataset, cross-referenced location pings from the dating app against the target's known locations, and identified him. The research was done using the same tools and data that any corporation, political campaign, or malicious actor could purchase today. And if a single individual can be identified and exposed from a commercial dataset, imagine what a motivated, state-sponsored actor, a criminal organization, or an abusive ex-partner can do. Now let's talk about a different category of attack, one that is more technically sophisticated and increasingly common. It is called a SIM swap. Your location data is part of how it works. When an attacker wants to take over your phone number, they often start by building a profile on you. They use data brokers to learn your routines. They use social engineering to call your carrier, posing as you. They need to answer your security questions. Many of those questions are things an attacker can infer from your public digital footprint, combined with your location history. Where do you bank? What city were you born in? What gym do you go to? Your location data fills in the gaps. Once they convince your carrier to port your number to their SIM card, every call and text meant for you goes to them. Every two-factor authentication code, every password reset link. In minutes, they can own your email, your bank account, your everything. Robert Ross, a California father of two, lost $1 million in cryptocurrency in a single day through a SIM swap attack. The FBI eventually arrested the perpetrators, but the money was gone. What enabled that attack was not a zero-day exploit or a sophisticated technical breach. It was the combination of personal information assembled from commercial data sources combined with a phone call to a carrier support line. There is also a more direct technical attack worth understanding. Fake cell towers, sometimes called IMSI catchers or stingrays. These are devices that impersonate legitimate cell towers and trick your phone into connecting to them. Law enforcement agencies use them, but researchers have demonstrated that the hardware cost of building a rudimentary version has dropped into the range where sophisticated criminal organizations can afford them. When your phone connects to a fake tower, it reveals your device identifier, your location, and in some configurations, your call and text metadata. In 2014, a report by ESD America found that IMSI catchers were operating in Washington, D.C., near government buildings, likely operated by foreign intelligence services. Nobody was hacked in the traditional sense. Phones simply did what phones do, connected to the strongest available signal, and in doing so exposed information about who was carrying them and where. So what can you actually do? The first step is limiting which apps can access your location in the first place. Go into your phone settings right now. Look at every app that has location access. Ask yourself whether that app genuinely needs to know where you are to function. A weather app might. A casino game does not. A flashlight app absolutely does not. Change location permissions to only while using or never for any app that does not have a clear reason to need them. The second step is understanding that even with those limits, your carrier always knows roughly where you are. That is not something you can opt out of without giving up cellular service entirely. What you can do is be aware that your carrier's data is a legal target for subpoenas, data request, and in some countries, outright government access. The third step is to be skeptical of anything that offers free services in exchange for app access. A free VPN that requires location permission is not doing that for your benefit. Free games, utility apps, and tools that ask for your location, contacts, and camera access simultaneously are harvesting data they do not need to provide the advertised function. The fourth step is to watch where your accounts are linked. If you have signed into third-party apps using a Google or Apple account, and those apps have location access, that data is flowing somewhere. Audit your connected apps, revoke access to anything you do not actively use. And the fifth step, if privacy matters to your specific situation, is to use a device you are not personally identified with when you need genuine location privacy. A phone registered in your name, connected to your carrier account, tied to your email and your apps is not a private device. It is a comprehensive location log attached to your identity. Security researchers at Carnegie Mellon University's SciLab ran a study in which they allowed participants to see a log of exactly which apps were accessing their location data and when. The result was striking. Users were shocked. On average, apps were accessing their location once every 3 minutes, not when they opened the app, continuously in the background at all hours. Most people had no idea. Your phone knows exactly where you are right now. It knew where you were this morning, and the gap between what you assume that means and what it actually means for your privacy and your safety is exactly the gap that data brokers, criminals, and bad actors have turned into a business model. Knowing that gap exists is the first step to closing it.